What up, reader fam? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you a book tag. Love a good tag, and this one is a spicy one. Spicy! It's the Anti-Tbr tag created by Nicole and her books. I will leave a link down below in the description to her channel along with her original video. I'm basically going to be going over a bunch of books that I will never ever read. Authors whose books I'm choosing to avoid like the plague. And book series that I think should be cancelled. Hold the phone, I'm being dramatic. It's not going to get that harsh today. But I will say that if you're not into negative opinions about your favorite books, then this video might not be for you, because there is a chance that I will talk about your favorite book in today's video, and if you don't want to hear negative opinions about that book, then I get it. You can sit this one out and I'll see you in the next video. But without further ado, let's get on into it. Let's dive into these questions. Number one, a popular book that everybody seems to love, but you have no interest in reading it. This one might really hurt some feelings, so prepare yourself, be mentally prepared here, but the one that I'm gonna go with for this question is the Selection series. I'm sorry. Am I sorry? I'm not really sorry. There are a plethora of reasons as to why I will never read these books, but you know what it ultimately comes down to? Reader preference. These books do not fit my reading taste in the slightest. If I were to lick them, they'd taste nasty to me. Obviously, I haven't read them, so I don't fully know every little thing about them, but what I do know is the fact that it's overflowing with romance, which already gets a pass from me. When it was pitched as dystopian meets The Bachelor, it was a big red flag for me. That red flag was waving in my face. It's got a love triangle, which you bet I'll be avoiding that like there's no tomorrow. I'ma break that love triangle up. Pew! Take that love triangle, take that trope, chuck it in a blender, throw it out the window. That's how I feel about it. And it's a dystopian type story. Now, I actually really enjoy the dystopian genre, but I'm still burnt out from the dystopian boom we experienced after the Hunger Games. Anybody else feel that way? I mean, I know it's been a minute since the dystopian genre has been popping off, but the young adult category really took that genre and choked it to death. I'm all the time getting comments like, "Excuse me, where's the Selection series on your bookshelf?" And I avoid responding because I don't want to break any reader hearts by revealing the fact that I have zero desire to read them. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I get it if that means that I don't pass the reader vibe check for you anymore, but I will say that I'm glad that you've found a book that you love with a fiery passion. I just will not be joining you in that book party. No RSVP from me. Number two, a classic book or author that you don't have an interest in reading. I will probably, actually no, scratch the probably. I will never, ever read Lolita. I've always just felt bad vibes from that book before even knowing what it's about, but then when I found out what it was about, I was like, okay, it makes sense where those bad vibes were coming from. It was then that I realized that I could trust my gut with its bad feelings towards books. I mean, my gut feelings ain't always right, but I feel like they were right about this book, okay? And here's the deal, I will never shame anybody for reading this book and enjoying it. You do you, read what you want, love what you love, but I personally could never feel good about reading this book. Even if it's just a book kind of depicting a situation and getting you to think about this whole situation, it makes me uncomfy. Uncomfy. And I don't really want to get into the description and tell you what it's all about because again, it makes me uncomfy, but Google it for yourself and do what you will with that information. No judgment from me, but it's a pass from me. I ain't even gonna let it have a glance from me. It's getting nothing but the cold shoulder. Number three, an author whose books you have no interest in reading. This one will probably ruffle some feathers. Why did I do that as if I was ruffling my own feathers when I in fact have no feathers on me? I don't know, but I feel like at the same time, it's no surprise that I will never read this author, and that is Stephenie Meyer. Now, I'm not here to be a fun sucker, a grump, or a book shamer. I just genuinely know that I do not fall into the audience for the books that she writes. I've seen the Twilight movies minus the last one, and I get the appeal. I really do. I understand why Twilight has such a cult following. My interests just don't really line up with what Stephenie Meyer is writing. And that's okay. That's valid. I feel like I have to tell myself that every time I have an unpopular opinion. That's okay. That's valid. She's got millions of fans, and me not being one is not going to affect her. I will say that the one book that she's written that I would potentially be interested in, if I was completely bored and had absolutely no other book on my TBR that interested me, which will never happen, would be The Host. Other than that, sorry, Stephenie. We're not compatible, it's not a match, it's a swipe left for me. Number 3.2, a problematic author whose books you have no interest in reading. Orion Scott Card. When you go out of your way to try and harm a group of people, it's a no from me. Not here to educate you on him. Let Google be your friend. Number 4, an author you've read a couple books from and have decided that their books are not for you. Here's the thing, I never want to completely write off an authur unless they're a trashy person, that's a different story. But I've had authors like Kirsten White, where I've read some of her books and really didn't like them, but kept giving her new books a try and eventually hit the jackpot. My babies, this was the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I will say that I do have authors where I'm hesitant in picking up new books by them. For example, one author that is coming to mind right now is Lauren Oliver. I've had such an up and down roller coaster ride with her books. I've had ones that I've really enjoyed, and then I've had others that I've DNF'd and haven't made it all the way through. And even in those books that I didn't like or that I DNF'd, I still saw some positive things within those books. For example, I really love Lauren Oliver's writing style, and that's enough for me to continue picking up her books and just seeing if I like them or not. So I don't really have an answer for this one. I wish I did, but I don't. Number 5, a genre that you have no interest in, or a genre that you gave a try but you just couldn't get into. Oh no, I don't think that I have an answer for this one either. Because I feel like I'm always game for any genre. Even if it's done me dirty over and over and slapped me in the face with regret, I'm still keen to find a book within that genre that will win me over and open up my eyes to all that it has to offer. I will say that right now, in this current time frame in my life, I don't have the desire to pick up dystopian books. That's not to say that I will never return to that genre, but it's not high on my list of genres to get back to. Plus, that genre be hitting a little too close to home these days, don't you agree? I feel like it would just make me 10 times more anxious than I already am. And that is one thing in my life that I do not need. Anxiety. Number 6, a book that you bought but will never read. This might be a bit of a cop-out, but I'm gonna go with it anyway, and that is this edition of City of Bones. It's more of a collector's edition, which is why I don't feel like I will ever read it. It's too beautiful for me to get my crusty fingers all over it throughout the reading process. Though mine did arrive a little bit damaged anyway, so it's been through a bit of a book battle already. And I know it sounds stupid to have an edition on your shelf that you'll never read, because like, what's the point? But the point is, it's beautiful. It's got gold edges, it's got illustrations inside. Look at that, look at that, look at, it's beautiful, okay? It is beautiful. You know, something that is actually kind of annoying is that this book came with gold edges. Like, she's a stunner. This book screams rich. But then they came out with a collector's edition of Clockwork Angel, and my copy does not have gold edges. It has plain Jane edges. Like, did they blow all their budget on the City of Bones edges that they couldn't deliver on the Clockwork Angel edges? I need answers. And honestly, Clockwork Angel is the one that deserves the golden edges. City of Bones is nothing but a peasant in comparison. I'm taking this too far, but this is my answer. I will never read this edition. Number 7, a series that you have no interest in reading, or a series that you started but ended up DNFing. Besides the Selection series, I would say the A Wrinkle in Time series, which I think is called the Time Quintet. I enjoyed the first book for the most part, and I feel like I might have made plans to like carry on with the series, but eventually I ran out of steam, which is honestly a trend for me when it comes to series. A trend that I am not proud of. You can just start calling me the series ditcher, because that's what I am. But while I did enjoy the first book and never amounted to like full-on book love, it knocked on my heart, but I couldn't hear it because of my budding love for other books. I actually do remember it being a really confusing read, and I feel like that kind of brought down my enjoyment a little bit, and also just how trippy it ended up getting. I remembered that for sure, like trippity-doo-dah, trippity-day. I think it's one of those series for me where I would rather it glide on by, while I focus on picking up books that I know that I will end up loving. Number 8, and the final question, what's a rather new release that you have no interest in picking up and reading? Dang it, I'm kind of ending on a cop-out answer again. But Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. I was genuinely so happy for all you twihards when you got this book, because I know it's been a tough journey. I know you've been waiting. You really went through it to get this book. She kept it in the chamber and finally was like, here, have at it. But again, I have no desire to read Twilight, so there's no way that I'm going to be reading Midnight Sun, which if I'm remembering correctly, Midnight Sun is just Twilight, but in Edward's perspective. So why would I read that when I have no interest in reading the OG? That's like eating the filling of a pie without eating the crust. Pointless. Because the crust is the best part, and that's the hill that I am willing to die on. Am I willing to die for that opinion? Not at all. Alright guys, that's it for the anti-TBR tag. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that I did not hurt any of your feelings. I feel like a lot of you twihards are gonna be a little upset with me. I'm sorry. I respect Twilight for what it is, but it ain't for me, and I'm sorry for that. Now I want to hear from you guys down below in the comments. Let me know a book that has come out in the year of 2020 that you have no desire to read and why that is, because I'm very curious. If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon, and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright, that tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye-oh! Number 3, oh my gosh, number 3.2, oh my gosh.